What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again on Wednesday. We get a beautiful 11-game slate here tonight. This is like my favorite slate size, around 10, 11 games. Like, you can choose between a lot of guys. You can definitely narrow down those values and guys that can return a lot on their price tag and absolutely go off in great matchups. So the 3-game slate last night, it didn't work in my favor that much, considering as I recommended Gary Harris and Jokic, and both those guys were in like the worst situation, considering they only played like 2.5 quarters as the game turned into a blowout. So they weren't able to return as much value or just get to that upside as I was hoping for, as there was a lot of points, but the Kings just couldn't keep up. That happens sometimes in DFS. Like, they really limited them. And then you have the other side of the ball where the Pistons and the 76ers go to OT, and Blake Griffin went nuclear and even went more nuclear as the game went to overtime. So that really sucked. But let's see if we can have a little bit better luck here tonight, and these guys can just return a lot on their great spots. So definitely drop a like before we get going if you're liking the NBA content so far in the season. And it goes a long way, really helps me out so I can continue to bring these videos to you every single day. And subscribe if you haven't already to get these videos day in, day out. And also, after you subscribe, hit that bell icon and get alerted every time I upload, so you don't miss out on the videos, you don't forget about me, and you can be like the first person here, and so you can ask some questions and kind of interact with me a little bit more, so you can kind of get on your way with some research help on every single slate. So do all that. Let's get into it. K-Love's going to be my first guy up. He hasn't been shooting well by any stretch of the imagination. He's shooting like 30% on the season, which is definitely not good, but the thing is, he's still returning some solid fantasy production. So if he can shoot a little bit better here and be extremely active on the glass here, which is a good matchup against Brooklyn, a team that does generally struggle on the glass. They've been a little bit better this year, but I think K-Love can still beat them on the glass here in the spot and get around 10 to 15 rebounds and get us around maybe 20 to even 25 points if he can just be a little bit more productive scoring. And he was a little bit screwed over as well against the Hawks. That game turned into a blowout. Vegas is expecting this game to stay close and a high over-under. So there's going to be a lot of points. The Cavs really don't have a great second scoring option besides K-Love. So it's not like he's just going to randomly not put up that many shots. He has to do so on this Cavs team, as they don't really have that second option to him. And the Nets, like, they're not great defensively, so K-Love can definitely be a little bit more efficient and effective here scoring the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my first guy. And for my second play here, Devin Booker is going to be pretty chalky. But the matchup is too good not to mention him. Going against the Cavs, I think he can get us over 50 DraftKings points. We saw DeMar DeRozan go off against them last time out. Their defense is just not great against wing players like Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and KCP. They're pretty good defenders, but I feel like the Lakers just seem out of sync, and their communication has not been great on these offensive possessions. Like we saw against the Spurs, they'd pass it around a lot, and then one guy would just be wide open. So I think that Devin Booker, if they kind of just give him going in motion, like they pass it to him, and or they pass to someone else and they pass to Booker, he could be wide open and see a lot of good looks. And they're allowing a 41% clip on 3-point shots. So Devin Booker, he can definitely get a hot from 3 at home here, where shooters typically do better. He had a really good game against Dallas opening night, 52 DraftKings points, and he has more upside considering his assists have been more. He's kind of been running with the ball in his hands a little bit more. His usage rate has been a little bit higher, so that definitely adds to his upside. We saw DeMar DeRozan, who typically doesn't get that many assists. He had like 13 assists or 14 in that game against the Lakers. So Booker could honestly get like 8 assists in this game and get us around 25 to 30 points. So a really good spot here. 8,300, like the price tag, high scoring affair. I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there. And for my third guy, Trae Young. He's been picking it up. He's been looking good. People said that he's going to suck in the NBA, but he looks like he's definitely capable of doing it. Like, I mean, shooters in this league now can hold their own, like we saw with Steph Curry when he first came into the league. Like, he's definitely more polished of a player. But Trae Young can kind of do some of those same things that Steph Curry was doing when he first came into the league. Just be a guy that can pull up from anywhere and be productive. He shot 14 threes and he hit 6 of them. against the Cavs, good for 60 DraftKings points, and he's been getting a good amount of assists as well, 11 and 9. And this is a solid matchup against Dallas. Their defense against point guards has not been great over the last year. We know that Dennis Smith Jr. has been struggling defensively, so I think Trae Young could get the better of him. And this is a little bit of a narrative here, as Trae Young was drafted by the Mavericks and then traded to the Hawks. So he's got to make him pay here tonight, go off against the Mavericks. So probably be shooting a lot here again, as he's been putting up a lot of shots, 23 and 18 shots in only 33 minutes. So if this game stays close, Trae Young will probably be throwing up around 20 shots here again and getting us maybe even close to 10 assists here. So a really good upside play at 7,200. A guy that probably can be sporadic. We've seen some consistency over the last 2 games, but he definitely has, I like his upside more than I like his downside here in this matchup. And it's going to be a high-scoring affair, fast-paced. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my third guy. Then Kyle Kuzma. I'm going to go back to the well. He proved me right last game against San Antonio there. And that's not even a great matchup, really, against San Antonio. Their defense is definitely worse, but still, Kuzma was just playing extremely well. He had some crazy finishes, and he was just wet from the three-point land. And against Phoenix here, we know they're not great defensively. They're allowing a good amount of the scoring to defenses. So they've been a little bit better against threes, but against like Ryan Anderson, who's been starting for them at power forward, or even TJ Warren, they're kind of undersized power forwards that Kyle Kuzma can definitely take advantage of in the matchup, but that's probably one of the better places to attack the Phoenix team. You can attack them at the guard spot. Then I would say power forward is probably the second best place to really get after them based on the matchups. So I think Kuzma is going to be very active shooting the ball again here. They need some shooters, and with Ingram gone, and with Rondo gone, and Lonzo Ball hasn't been playing his full complement of minutes yet. And Kuzma's been playing, or he did play a ton of minutes last game. Even though it went to OT, he had like 40 minutes going into OT. So a ton of opportunity here. The more rebounds on his plate, with him playing some more power forward as well, like I mentioned, going into the last game. So I think he can give us around like 25 points and around 8 rebounds, maybe even 10 rebounds again in this game. A high-scoring game is going to be super fast-paced. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my fourth guy. Now we need some value plays. Kelly Oubre Jr. is definitely a guy that sticks out to me. Jeff Green got a little bit banged up at the end of last game. There's been no injury report on him, so I guess he's fine. But there was like a scary moment with him, so I'm not really sure what's going on with him. And then also Ian Mahinmi. He's questionable. He didn't play in the second half last game. And Kelly Oubre actually drew the start he entered the starting lineup in the second half, and he played a ton of minutes, and he looked really good. So I would imagine if Mahimi's out, or even if he's in, he'll probably be less than 100% and not be playing any or not many minutes against the Warriors anyway. So I think Oubre can get us around 30 minutes in this game, get some more shots going up, and with that small ball approach against Golden State and just without Mahinmi on the court, he can get a few rebounds. Like he's gotten 6 over the last 3 games, and he can be a more productive scoring. Like he only got 20 and 19 minutes in his first 2 games, but with how well he played, just how much they need him, I think, against a team like the Warriors, he can be putting up some more points, getting double digits, and get us a good amount of rebounds. So 4,300, I think he can return some value and be an underrated kind of guy in this slate. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my final core 5 guy. And then for my value, Justice Winslow. This is a little bit risky considering he's coming off like a hamstring injury, but he could be a little bit they could be a little bit safe with him and not give him his full complement of minutes. But the fact that he was listed probable gives me a better kind of feel for him, and he was able to get a practice in on Tuesday. So I feel like Monday, he should be pretty good to go in this game against Miami. This is a really good matchup. They start Lance Thomas, but he gets like no minutes. He gets like 15 minutes a game at that starting power forward spot, and their bench play at power forward is very weak defensively. Like Mario Hezonja is a really bad defender, so I think Justice Winslow can get the better of him and get a good amount of rebounds. Like we saw Rodney McGruder have a lot of rebounds over the last few games, but he's not even known for his rebounding ability. So with Winslow slotted back into that spot, I think he'll be the one that kind of soaks up a lot of those rebounds. And he's the guy that can fill it up to points, rebounds, and assists. So even if he's less than 100%, just with the ball in his hands, like he can generate a lot of points with all those kind of stats and stuff like that. At 4,000, a really good price tag for a guy in the starting lineup at power forward in a good matchup against the Knicks. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my final guy in the money 6, and that gets us up to $52.50 remaining per player. So definitely some good value there. And also I wanted to mention JJ Redick here at 5,500. If Ben Simmons is out again here tonight, really good spot. You can put him in there at the utility as well as an extra guy to keep on your radar. So that is the money 6. Trae Young, Devin Booker, Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Love, Kelly Oubre Jr., and Justice Winslow. Definitely keep an eye on the injury report. If guys like Mahimi is out, if maybe Jeff Green spots up on the injury report, Kelly Oubre, even a stronger play. And Justice, also Derrick Jones Jr., I think he's questionable for the Miami Heat, which could give Justice Winslow, or actually he was a limited participant in practice, so maybe he'll play. But I think Winslow, a really strong play. So definitely go ahead and drop a like in the video. If you enjoyed it, you can comment any questions down below in the video. You can follow me on Twitter at MoneyWebby if I have to update any of these guys. Or you can ask me any questions. You can tweet at me, DM me for any questions on Twitter. And definitely subscribe if you're enjoying the content to continue to get it. Hit the bell icon and get alerted every time I upload. So good luck tonight, guys. Hope you do well, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.